A college life hack that saved me time was to use my planning system and my syllabus effectively. How I did that was to thoroughly read through my syllabus. I know it's long, it's boring, but you have to do the needful. But the major part, even if you don't read through every single word, is to jot down the due dates, the major upcoming due dates from September to December. That was my time span for my semester. For you, it might be different, but I would advise that you jot down what test is coming up, what big assignment is coming up, when the exams are. Keep that in mind, okay? As each month comes, I used to do monthly reviews, but even if you don't go that deep, ensure that new month you make a mental note to open through your monthly overview in either of your planners and see what big dates are coming up. If you need to cut down on stuff, make sure you do cut down on them and then prepare effectively for that. That was a time saver for me. Okay, your planning system could be manual like this or digital like Google Calendar. I actually used both. Google Calendar would slot in any appointments that I had and anything, and my manual planner was for daily planning, seeing what could help and what couldn't help for me. So you have to try it out and see what works best for you. A good addition to planning and planning system is to use time blocks, and time blocking is essentially setting time periods for different tasks that you have to do. So if it's studying or working in a lab, you set it from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. I think that takes a little while to get used to. You would have to observe how long a certain task takes you to do. So you might, in the first start of it, if you've never done anything like that, you could just time yourself how long it took you to do that activity. And for future planning, you use time blocking so that you can effectively set yourself up for success. For more useful tips like this on how to effectively slay your school year, stay tuned in this video and more videos about back to school. I used to hate note taking and listening, watching lectures, and the whole process of note taking. I used to hate it. Now, I'm a good paper and pen girl. Love to take my time and write my pen. Not that my notes were pretty, but I just love the whole vibe of it. But watching lectures, even if it was just a 30-minute lecture, would take me like 3 hours tops to write down notes. The original way I used to do that. And one thing about going into college and university is that certain of your techniques will have to change. So you have to be open-minded. And so I decided to try different ways of cutting my time out. So one way that worked was to listen to the recording on times 2 speed, a higher speed. But in terms of note taking, what helped was the way I took my notes. So for information heavy courses like biology, like sociology, psychology, I used to take my notes in question form. I particularly stopped using pen and paper and started using Notion. So it was like a digital switch, which is great for the environment. But the thing of why Notion was that it has the toggle feature. And so I would write my questions, I would write my notes as questions. So if they were talking of like process of rains, I would write in my Notion then how is rain formed, and either like in the same moment type something down or just leave it. But all through that first listening to, I would just take down questions and notes. What I'll do after is to like, even immediately after, is to just like jot down information. Most of these recordings are saved. Some of them also have like notes, so I could just find the answers. They're either in the same sitting or some other time close to that. You don't want to leave it long because then you will, procrastinate. But what I would do was to like jot down the answers, which was a good way for me to study, was me actively learning and actively recalling what I would learn. But also it saves time for tests and exams. I don't have to refine. I already have questions to like quiz myself on and prepare on. So that helped me so much. I know that other people also like, just mind maps, drawing their notes and such. So definitely try out and see what works best for you in terms of note taking and such. If you don't want to do the writing or the typing, there's another option for faster note taking for you. Google Docs has this feature where it's a translator and you basically speak and it types it out. Now, just a warning, there would be, little errors, but if you don't mind editing it, that could work for you to take notes faster. So try that. The honest of this part of the video is to show to you and tell you that there are digital tools out there to help you with your studies, and so make use of it. It might be uncomfortable, you might take time to get used with it, but make use of it. There are a lot. I will list others down. I'll link the blog with all those lists in the description below. As when you see all the list and you see the amount I use, you obviously should be able to tell that you can use all. Just find the ones that are best helpful for you. The top one is one I mentioned earlier, Notion. The toggle feature was great for studying, so check that out. It's really great. The second one for me was Forest. So they have the Google Chrome, they have the Chrome extension, and they also have the app. The app is great because it blocks it off from using your phone to some extent. For some people, they don't have that kind of discipline, so you might have to put your phone out of the room or give it to somebody. But if you have that kind of restraint, but sometimes you find yourself being distracted, use Forest, which is an app that grows trees as you stay off your phone. You set the time that you want to study for or whatever, and then it grows. There's 25, there is 60. It follows the whole notion of Pomodoro technique. Is studying for a long stretch of hours, like 25 minutes, 40 minutes, and then taking a break after, because breaks are important, and then going again for however long you want to go on long for. Next is the Google. I love Google. I know some people hate Google, but I love Google. So the main ones for Google for me is Google Docs. Of course, I just love it to just like dump stuff. Google Keeps. Yes, that's even my go-to for dumping. Google Docs is like dumping for project ideas, essays and stuff. But Google Keeps, I use it like every single day. I'm not exaggerating. The third Google stuff is Google Meets. I used to, because of all the meeting mediums, Google Meets is the easiest. You go on Google and it's most free. You go on Google, type in Google Meets, create a meeting, and you copy a link, and that's it. I used to use that for study groups because we used to study, so it was best to use a link, and I used to use that for study book. Another one is the Google Calendar. I already mentioned about that, how I use it. All the Google tools work for me. As you can tell though, I am an Android user, so I don't know much about the I stuff, but if it works for you, use it. Then top for studying has to be Anki flashcards. I must say it doesn't work for everybody, so if it doesn't work for you, that's fine, you're okay. And also it depends on the subject. So I know that I wanted to use it for all, and I didn't really, and I also only used it for one subject, but it did really help with studying and retention, and it was easy. I would just go on the deck and then, oh wait, I didn't say what Anki was. Anki is a digital flashcard deck. It's like Quizlet. Quizlet I think is more popular, but Anki is more advanced. You type your questions, you type your answers at the back of the card, and then it goes. And then when you're ready to review, the cards come out. Then you can mark the degree of easiness it was. So if it was great, you click great. It won't come until a longer time. The harder ones will come more frequently, and you'll be able to study effectively and know what you need to improve on. So that's how to use Anki. It's a really good tool. But your studies can be long, boring, very. I just full of tears, like they made me cry. Okay, I know for most people it's hybrid, so it's a bit better. You can get to meet people and stuff. But when it comes to the work, most of it is still virtual. So how do you stay motivated? I think a big one is to know your why. Okay, and I'm not just throwing that out, but like literally, why are you going after what you're going? And don't feel bad for whatever your reasons are. So for some, it might be, I want to make money, and that's it, literally, you know. And so for some people, they're like, my gosh, this is my passion, blah blah blah. Blah. I would dream for this. Whatever yours is, stick to it and use that as your North Star. And then I also did was like create like a vision and motivation board academic wise for it. But it's also nice to set down clearly what your goals are the beginning of the semester, how you're going to achieve those goals. And so when you falter or you feel lost, you can go back to whatever you've written it in on your phone or in a physical paper and use that as motivation. Another great thing is to follow study people. So if you're a YouTube watcher, study, follow study study tubers. I think that's what they're called. Yes, follow them. Productivity people that post you. Also follow them on your Instagram. Surround yourself in that way with individuals. Follow me also because I will be helping you in all those things. And stay put. And other thing is to, as you're studying, find people to study with, so whether it's virtually or in real life. From a friend, just like a study partner, even for that one course only, join with those people, and that's how you get motivated. But it all starts with you, what you want, and how you're going to set up yourself for success. Another good thing is to make use of active recall. This will save you time on studying. It will help you retain information better. And yeah, it's literally just the way to go for learning information in college and university. What is actively recalling or actively learning? It's ensuring that whatever you're absorbing from the professor, the textbook, is is actually like hitting your mind and not just like absorbing it as a sponge, if you get what I'm saying. So what's passive learning look like? It look like you're listening to what the teacher is saying, writing it down, forgetting it until a day before the test, and then you're scrambling, and that's all. That's passive. Active learning looks like you actively, taking notes, whatever that looks like for you. It looks like you reviewing those notes regularly, periodically, and then when you are reviewing it, it's not in the same format but different, format that helps the information stick better for you. How does that look like for me? Let me give you an example with a subject. So as I said earlier, for me, passively learning is writing my notes in question form, question answer. Reviewing that could be me reviewing whatever I wrote as question and answer, or reviewing the questions and putting in the answers. That way, I'm forcing my mind to think of what the information was. I'm already preparing myself for exam setting, test settings. Okay, now alongside that, it's best that you review a day before and also 3 days before and a week before. I wasn't too consistent with those, but I did make time to review periodically closer to the date and not just the day before of the test. So it's important that you do that. You also find your schedule. I do want to tell you that's what curating your best life is all about, finding what works for you. I know some people are more authoritative and they're like, do this, it will work. But guys, we all live different lives, so find what works for you. Okay, I'll then review. When I'm reviewing, the first time it might just be me rereading. The second time it might be me mind mapping, putting a topic in the center and then recalling whatever I reviewed from the last time. And whatever stands out, like whatever is out on the paper more, I recognize that I got that. Whatever I've forgotten is what I need to like review more and do. How you actively learn, actively recall with textbooks is that you open the textbook, read it, okay, but you don't just like close it back and like, yes, I've studied. How you do that is to close it and then try to write down whatever you can recall from what you're reading. So back to my steps. So I do mind maps. Sometimes it's on the computer. I'm just dumping down words that comes up to mind. And then in addition, for sometimes I also add them onto Anki. Whatever questions I have on Notion, I'll just add them to Anki and then try to review with Anki regularly. Addition to that, still in the reviewing options is to also talk to a friend, explain it to them. A big thing I used to do is that anything I learned, if it was new, I would share it to all my family and they'll literally be annoyed. I'd be like, Mommy, did you know that this, and this is why this is this, da, 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 and they'd be so annoyed, but that's fine for me. It's me actively recalling, reminding my mind of the information, even if it's a hard one, it's an interesting one. For math, it will look like you practicing, but finding different ways of practicing and finding different questions also. Math is kind of really simple. It's just like the practicing is actually hard, but really, you know the information and then you practice. Literally, that's it. Thank you for sticking to the end of this video. There will be more videos like this, so boosting you, encouraging you to curate your best study life for practice school, specifically for college, but you can work for everybody. So share this with your friend, share this with whoever you want to be, who you want to become your study buddy, and let's all curate our best study lives. Okay, that's all for now. Don't forget to like, care, share, and subscribe.